we're finally starting to see what can happen when Apple puts big marketing budgets behind their movies and their TV shows. Many of us marketers have complained about, I know I have, because I always wonder, like, how come nobody hears about their shows aside from, the big ones like Severance and Slow Horses. But even those are like hard to hear about until this year. Apple's starting to change and realize that they have more resources that they can be using for their TV and movies, which makes sense because they're spending so much money to, pay the artists and pay the directors for these, movies and TV shows, and then not helping them distribute them to like their audience, aside from, any of the in-app ads and like trailers that you get within the Apple TV app or within like your phone. We're seeing them really put everything behind this F1 movie with a $200 billion budget. It's a good thing that they are, but it's showcasing a dramatic shift from their historically minimal promotion approach to a strategy that combines innovative tech. Many of you might have seen the haptic trailer that came out last week. Experiential marketing with their premiere tonight in New York. They're having like 2 rows of like F1 cars at their movie premiere, which is pretty cool.
Oh,
And
that's cool.
yeah, and then
And
they're
then,
having
oh, I wanted to call out because I don't know
yeah,
if everyone knows what experiential marketing is,
yeah.
but I remember a while back the Severance pop up, right?
Mhm.
They had like this pop up in Grand Central Station where it was like this big glass cubicle, right? Where the actors in Severance were in it,
Mhm.
like
And
they
we're at
were,
their workstation,
yeah,
so
at
they
their
built out like the
workstations.
whole set basically.
Yeah.
So the fact that they're kind of really going with this is showing that they like care and are starting to see the returns to that, right? Like I'm sure they saw huge returns from that, Grand Central experiential marketing experience that they had for people. And then obviously it was one of the most watched shows that like Apple has had. One of the biggest reasons why they're doing this is because their Apple products are being showcased in a new light with the F1 movie. We saw that with the haptic trailer that just came out, made the phone vibrate whenever any of the cars were like, roaring by. So it kind of shows off their phone in a way that like hadn't been possible before. One of the other things that they mentioned was that like the camera that they used to film the racing had to be invented because they realized they couldn't keep track of the cars without having this new technology with the camera. This is one of the things that I thought about was like, remember the Ryan Coogler Kodak video where he came out and he was explaining like the different IMAX theaters and like what the different screen sizes are and then the sound that each of them have. Like, I think this could be like a good idea for them. It's like kind of showcasing what their cameras are able to do now that they had to invent them for this particular movie. Going back into like really showing people like the way that things work and how like they're made is a good way of showing why you're at like the pinnacle of like innovation and like the space you are, which obviously Apple is. Some people have like been questioning like, are they actually still innovating? Like even I've done that, right? But this kind of shows that like they still care about the technology. They're just putting it into different areas. And if they're gonna like do it for one of their other verticals like Apple TV and like movies, then like they should be showcasing that in order to promote all the work that they're doing at the company.
Full disclosure, I'm not an F1 fan. It's
Yeah.
not my thing. But I think this is a great opportunity is that F1 is one of those, I'll just say as a brand has really been able to hit like really balance the whole appeal to luxury brands and not luxury brands, and positioning those all really well and reaching tons and tons of people because there are obviously tons of people who care a lot about F1 and I think the people who care are really into it. So I think this is going to be a really cool example of seeing, really seeing them go pedal to the metal, right? With
Yeah.
the advertising for this and with that full experience. Because I think of all the brands or kind of entities to do this, like to go this deep with Apple, I think this is kind of the best one or the one that's best positioned to be successful in doing it.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely makes sense why they've chosen this movie. Brad
Yeah.
Pitt is like a huge global star and he's like the main character there. They're getting Lewis Hamilton to help promote it, who's also an executive producer in the movie. So they're using everything that they can to put this out there. And like, really, they've also spoken about how authentic the actual races are, which has never been done in any of like the other F1s or, TV shows that have been out there. So that's really going to bring in the real hardcore fans who like kind of want to have that experience. And I think another thing here that I didn't call out earlier was that I think it's very smart to be focusing so much on mobile because so many people use the iPhone and they use the iPhone as like their main way to watch content. I prefer to watch things on, TV on like a bigger screen, but there's a lot of people that watch things on mobile. So the fact that they're starting to create ways for you to engage with content with your phone is super smart of them because it makes it another reason why you should have an Apple phone over an Android.
That's a good point.
So while we may joke that they don't do any marketing, one of the ways that they do great marketing is by using their Apple TV app to show the trailers for different shows. Yes, you have to do it on your own and like search, for the content, but they usually have like, 10 ads or trailers for their shows. And then this made me realize that other companies do not do this. Mainly, I was thinking about this recently with Disney because that new Pixar movie just came out and nobody had heard about it until they claimed that it was a failure, right? And like that's one of the things that I was like, well, I didn't see the ad like even in Disney, right? Like
Yeah.
so the fact that now it's going all in on like bigger productions makes sense. But I do also want to like call out that I hope that this isn't just for like the biggest movies and the biggest shows, right? Because some of the lesser known shows with like lesser known actors are also really good. So you want to be able to, give at least a minimal marketing budget to some of these other shows in order to help them find their audience somewhere.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll see more of that because I think there are so many kind of niche shows that people really
Hmm.
like. I mean,
Yeah.
Severance is a good example of that, where it's hugely popular, but also there are still a lot of people who haven't seen it.
Right.
Like so it's still kind of niche or like cult-ish in that regard,
Yeah. For
but
sure.
the excitement they've been able to generate through the different kinds of experiences they've been focusing on, like, that's been really cool to see. So, to your point, like F1 combined with that, hopefully we'll see like, yeah, I mean, like, my hope is that, sure, this will be the kind of the first, like, premiere, like, full-scale advertising, but it'll be cool to see if there are kind of indie or smaller shows and movies that can also take advantage of some of that stuff too.
Yeah, definitely. Because those are the
Yeah.
ones that need it most, right? Because, like, let's
Yeah.
be honest, this movie was probably going to get a lot of attention anyway because Brad
Yeah.
Pitt is in it, because F1 is involved, Lewis
Yeah.
Hamilton is out there, promoting it. So they were already going to be big. On top of that, they're adding, even more money to the budget. I understand. And yes, it makes sense. But like I said, I hope that they're also going to include some of the smaller shows that
Yeah.
don't often get that much attention, like For All Mankind, Silo, Bad Sisters. Like these are all shows that I have loved and watched, but I had to find them by myself.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? Yeah. So takeaway here for me is that tech companies can leverage their hardware advantages for content marketing, right? Like let's use what you're building on the tech side to promote it on the digital side. A company that did this really well, throwback to Dyson, right? Like this is their verticals talking to each other and then figuring out how they can create better experiences and better products for their current consumer. And then if you have different verticals, like use those, like use them across your platform to be able to promote your other products to your consumer. The delivery is just as important as the content itself. And if you have their eyeballs in one vertical, use that for the other verticals that you're also using, because that is a whole experience that they can be having from your company.